Hi there, my name is Rishi Nalam, and today we're going to be creating a to-do list Python program. This is going to be one of my first videos in our Python beginner tutorial series, so let's get started. So as you can see over here, I've already created a folder called to-do list program, and in this folder I've created a file called main.py, and in this main.py file I'll create several functions, first of which is we're going to work on is clear screen. So in order to make clear screen work, we have to first import OS, and following that, in this, the main objective for this is to clear the screen for the user when they're using our app. So in order to call this function, you just need to use os.system, and then if they're using a Windows, then we're going to call the CLS. Or else if it's a Mac or a Linux, then we're just going to call this, so it's going to be int, it's going to be nt else clear. So basically this OS module will allow us to interact with our operating system so that we can clear the screen. Now following the clear screen function, now we need to work on our display menu function. Here we're just going to have a simple of print statements that we can display to the user so that they know that how we can use our program. So over here I've already copy pasted a series of print statements which notify the user that this is our to-do list program, and under this we have our first print statement, which is view our to-do list. Second of which is add items to the to-do list, remove items to the to-do list, save as well as load items into our external txt file that we'll be adding later, as well as exiting our program. Following the display menu, now we're going to be working on our view to-do list. So in this function, first we're going to create an if-else statement where if there's nothing existing in the to-do list, then we can just notify the user that print your to-do list is empty. However, if there is something in their to-do list, then we can just simply go through the to-do list items that we have added in the second function that we'll update later on, and we'll use the enumerate function so that we can display all the list items. So in order to implement this program, first you need to do for idx. So this is like the number of the add to-do list item, and item in enumerate, and in this we're just going to go through the to-do list, and we're going to start at index 1 because at index 0 there's really going to be no to-do list items, and then here we're just going to print out the to-do list items that the user has. So in order to do this, we're just going to be using a formatted string, and in curly braces we're going to do idx, so the number of the added item as well as the item itself. So I'm just going to do item. Now following that, we're going to be working on the add to-do list item. So in order to implement this program, first we need to allow the user to input the item that they really want to input for their schedule. So for this one we're going to do item is equal to input, and in this we're just going to say enter the to-do list item. Now following that, once we have their input, we're going to append this into our to-do list that we're going to be adding on into our main function. So here we're just going to do to-do list dot append, and then we're just going to be adding this item here. Now following that, we're just going to print this in a formatted string where we're going to tell the user that item has been added. So this when an item has been added to your to-do list. Now we're going to be working in our remove to-do list item. So for this one, we're just going to be doing that if the to-do list does not exist, we're just going to notify the user that they have nothing in their to-do list. So this is supposed to be to-do list, and in this now we just need to print a notifying message that your to-do list is empty. Now following that, once we have our print statement, we're also going to just return, and now we're going to do a else. So in this else, so in case they do have items that they can remove, we're just going to go through each of the items where the user is just going to input an integer and then enter the number of the item that they want to remove. So if they want to remove number 1, then they can remove it from the list. Now following that, once they've removed the item num, we're just going to go through all of the numbers. So we're going to start at 1, go through the item number, and then following that we're going through the entire list of to-do list. And then following that, we're going to say removed item is equal to to-do list dot pop, and in here we're just going to do item number -1. Now we're just going to print a formatted string to the user, where we're just going to say that the removed item has been removed from the list. Has been removed from the list. Now following that, we're going to have an else statement in here, where if they don't input an integer, then we're going to say that print, and we're just going to tell the user that they have an invalid item number. Following that, now we're just going to do an except, where in case they don't enter like a proper number, we're just going to tell them that they haven't entered a proper number. So in order to implement this, we can just say that, so actually I forgot that we have to implement another. So over here, instead of else, we're just going to do a try except, where if they do have items in their to-do list, then we're going to go do try, and then if they don't have anything, then we're just going to go to like the except and create a value error, and then here we're just going to notify the user to print a valid number. Now following that, now we have to save our items into a separate txt file that we're going to be adding on. So in order to access the txt file, first we're just going to type in that we're going to do with open, and we're going to open with the file name. So file name, and we're also going to do as where we can write in the file, and then as file, and we're going through each of the items in to-do list, and in this to-do list variable we're just going to do file.write, and then we're going to say item, and we're going to print it on different lines so that it doesn't interfere. Now following that, once we've iterated through the to-do list, now we're just going to say that we're just going to print that print, and then we're going to say that formatted string, and then to-do list has been saved to, and we're going to give the name of the file name. So here on top, I'm going to create a file .txt file called to-do list .txt. Now once that has been created, now we can move on to load. So we're just going to be loading all of our current items in our to-do list up back into the txt file. So in order to do this, we're just going to say that if not os.path.exists, then we're going to find the file name, and if the file name doesn't exist, then we're just going to print a error message saying that file name, and then we're going to say that does not exist, and then here we're just going to return an empty list. Now following that, with open, so then we can also allow the users to access or read whatever is in the file. So in order to do that, we're just going to go to R, which means read as file, and we're going to go to to-do list is equal to, and in this we're going to say that line.strip, and then for line in file. Following that, we're just going to notify the user that it has been loaded. So then the to-do list has been loaded from, and then we're going to say file name. So I'm just going to put this in a formatted string once again. Now once that's over, once we've done that, then we're just going to return the to-do list. In the main function, here we're going to be coding most of the chunk of our body of our program. So here we're gonna say create a to-do list in square brackets, and following that we're going to say that while true, so throughout the entire time the program is running, then we're just going to run these following commands. So first we're going to clear the screen, and then following clear the screen we're going to be displaying our menu option that we've created on top over here, so that we can notify the user what our program is all about. And here we're going to give them a choice of the input numbers. So then we're going to allow them to enter your choice from 1 to 6. So we're going to give a space over here. Now following that, we have to give a choice from 1 to 6, where we have to notify where if they click 1, then it goes to view to-do list. If they click now, like type in the number 2, then it creates the to-do list, for example. So in order to do that, I've already copy pasted code here, where it's a simple series of if, elif, and else statements, where if choice is equal to 1, then we're just going to call the view to-do list, and then if choice is number 2, then we're going to add to-do list. However, in order to make all of the program like properly run, we have to go back up into these functions and then call the to-do list, so that we have access to the to-do list in the function. So this is going to act as a parameter in each of these functions. So then you have to do that for this. We have to do it for the view to-do list, then we have to do it for the add to-do list, same for the remove to-do list, and then for the save to-do list and load to-do list, they're going to be a bit different, where you have to, not only you're going to need the to-do list, you're also going to need the file name. So file name is equal to, and then in here you're just going to say to-do list.txt or whatever you named your file name over here. And then you do the same for load to-do list, where you just say to-do list comma file name is equal to, and then here you just do to-do list .txt. And then here, once the user has inputted whatever they wanted to, then we just can add another feature where like we can just say that ask for the input, and then say that if they want to press enter to continue. So then here we're just going to say press enter to continue. And now this should be all. Now this is the program that we have created. And in order to test this program, I'm just going to go here to run and debug, and then Python debugger, Python file. And then I've noticed, so now we have our program running. So if we click the option 1, we can see that your to-do list is empty, as like the message over here, and we can press enter to continue. And then if we want to add to-do list item, we just click number 2. So over here I see that I called the wrong function. So if I go back down, so I said add to do item. So then instead of item, this is supposed to be a list. So now once that's done, now we can restart, and now we can try this again. So if you click number 2, now we can enter the to-do list item, and I'm just going to say math homework, and then following that it says that the math homework has been added to your to-do list. We can press enter to continue, and once we click 1, we can see math homework has been added. And in order to save it to to-do list, we can just say enter and then click 4, and then we say that it has been added to to-do list, enter, and then 5, we're going to load it to our to-do list. So in order to solve this error, you actually don't need the to-do list, because we're just going to be loading the to-do list item, so then the file name should be sufficient. So now if we test our program once again, we're just going to say science homework, and then we're gonna, and then once we click enter, then we can say 4, and it has been added, and then 5, and that has been successful. That's all for this program. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.